Welcome to Solid Waste India. Today we have with us Professor Brajesh Dubey, a prominent name in the field of waste management, research and education in India. Dr. Dubey is an associate professor at the Department of Civil Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. He has received his PhD in environmental engineering sciences from University of Florida and has advised several international organizations and governments in India and abroad. I attended a recent webinar in which you were a panelist, and you mentioned the importance of having entrepreneurship in developing waste technologies in India. And you said this is a great opportunity. The pandemic provides a great opportunity to entrepreneurs. Why is that? And what are the areas you see the need for these technologies?
So if you look at the Indian scenario is a bit different than if you look at the Western world. What has happened in recent decades is that we have tried to get technologies from overseas and try to solve our local problem. We still have a very strong informal sector in the country, which does a lot of recycling job for us. So if you take the technology, say from US and try to bring it to India, our waste composition is different. Yes. Because of the informal sector is taking away many of those recyclables and other stuff from there. So we have to look at an Indianized version of whatever technology, even if you import. I'm not saying that we should not import. Of course, as per present, the government's initiative on that Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have to develop a lot of indigenous technology as well. Yes. But even if we take technologies from abroad, we have to adapt it to the local condition. And then we have to, whenever we try to adapt it to the local condition, we need local entrepreneurs to take it up. Because if you look at our garbage, the way we collect the garbage, way we managing the waste is requires a special look in technologies adaptation to Indian condition. So for that, we need to have entrepreneurs who needs to come in and try to help. Now with this COVID, again, we will have the waste composition change. When I was talking about those entrepreneurship in that webinar that I'm talking about that people have to come in and take these opportunity that, okay, now we have to recycle this, but not in the traditional way, because so we have to come up and do some sort of innovation and come up with a semi-automated system.
Could you talk a little bit about the kind of technologies you are referring to?
The dry waste recycling is still, it's a lot of attention is needed, as you mentioned, and where we need to try to bring new technology where we can make use of those materials which are not being recycled right now. One of the things which is out there is trying to use those filled plastic for, say, road construction. People are using that road plastic into the road. Where plastic is acts as a binder for the road construction. We have done some work in our lab over here, where have taken this non-recyclable plastic, and we melted it and used LD slag coming from steel plants and made bricks which had similar strength than typical bricks that is being used. So, and even I saw that in in Kochi, that Amrita University, they also make bricks similarly. They are making these bricks. They are non-recyclable plastic. They compress it. They put a steel mesh around it. They put a layer of concrete to make it fireproof. So those kind of try to take those non-recyclable material and come up with some products out of that. There are some companies out there. They're making tiles. They're making bricks. They're making different stuff. But then they're just doing it in a localized fashion. It's not getting scaled up and into different. One of the things is that we don't do much hand holding in this country. Like when I say we, I said it from a government point of view. Similar situation if you look at in Australia or in US or Canada, where I had some experience working there. There is a lot of hand holding by the government. Government makes sure things gets done. We have a tendency here that we just give it to the private sector and just take a back seat, like from a government sector I'm talking about. Then private people, they don't talk to each other that much. And there is a lack of trust as well. And the government does not facilitate that talk. So those issues that's where we are not able to get a lot of progress in that side.
So what can the government do? If we can talk a little bit about what do you think the government can do on its end to promote these kind of entrepreneurs?
So the government, see, there are two things. One is, of course, getting the business it started, and other is the innovation part of the business. So we can talk both. So first, let's talk about the business.
Sure.
We're getting all these stakeholders together in one platform. I'll give. There are examples around the world where people, what the government has done is they have set up a what is typically known as the stewardship program or recycling program at a state level. See, again, things cannot be done at a federal level. We have to start talking more these things more in a decentralized fashion. Everything cannot come from Delhi. It has to go to the state level too. Delhi can set up a directive, but then because situations are different, what will work in Rajasthan versus what will work in Kerala is different. So there are local dynamics, there are local needs, local market, local industry. So we have to think, even some big states can start thinking even in a decentralized within the states as well.
Yes.
So what they have done, what I have seen happening in different places in the world, is they have set up a kind of recycling program at the state level or even at a district level, where they have brought all these stakeholders on one table and try to have a also have a technology provider and technology innovator in terms of local engineering college or local business school and all that. They also bring the academia into the discussion. So we have to have industry academia interaction also quite a bit, which we'll talk about in innovation also in detail. But from the business point of view, it's getting all these different stakeholders as like get these small players. For them to get bank loan and other stuff becomes difficult. But if the government is behind them, and government supports that, so then it becomes easier on their side. So that's what has been done. So say, for example, when I was in Ontario in Canada, there is an Ontario stewardship program for recyclables. So they had a blue bag program, and so what they have done is they try to all these different manufacturers of different products. They started charging them a very I think it's around 1% or 0.5%. They basically raised revenue from there, and that revenue was used to promote recycling by supporting these small industries. So these small industries were supported earlier. They were given some loan from the government and no interest loan or those kind of stuff. Of course, they have to show progress. If they don't show progress, it becomes difficult, but they have to show progress. If the technology is promising, if technology has gone through the first stage of screening with the help of, say, business, you can bring some business leaders, you can bring some academic people, technocrats, and make a decision. If the technology looks promising, out of 10 technology you fund, maybe 4 or 5 may fail, but that's okay, because unless we fail, but 2-3 will succeed, and that will make your life easier.
Yes.
So that kind of mindset has to come into the government, because otherwise we have some small islands where people, because of the incentive of certain local officer, maybe local IS officer is very much interested in waste. So he has done some initiative, he or she has taken some good initiative, and we have Indore. Today, Indore, we've set the example because of, but unfortunately what happens that IS officer gets transferred after 3 years or 6 years, and then the new person does not take the same kind of interest, and things starts falling apart. So we have to start developing a systems approach rather than a personality driven approach. Think is more of a personality driven. Some officer has come who is really passionate about garbage. Say if a person like me who is researched on garbage, teaching garbage, doing research on garbage, if I have power, I will try to, if I'm given a city, I'll do a lot of stuff. But if I'm transferred after 5 years, the new person may not have that interest.
Correct.
Isn't it? Because, and then that person may not do it because he has interest somewhere else. So, but if we develop the system in place, if you put a system in place where it does not matter whoever comes as a municipal commissioner, and then that's what we need to happen. That kind of thing needs to be done. So that's what
and I feel Swachh Bharat has kind of at least got waste into the mainstream conversation. And I'm hopeful that as we go along, there will be more and more, investment in technologies for waste management. One thing that you have also mentioned a lot, and a lot of experts have mentioned, you may work on the best technology, but that may fail because of poor segregation at the source.
to make the technology work, source segregation has to happen. But at the same time, which I would like to add, is the ULBs also needs to be well equipped to deal with that source segregated waste. What is happening at many places that you and I may be source segregating, but then when you see the collection truck coming in, they are mixing everything together in the truck. So when you look at in the truck for a couple of days and you feel like, why should I do the segregation? I'm putting so much effort in segregating it, but it is not segregated. The problem with the ULBs is they don't have proper truck. They don't have source segregated trucks. There are, compartment trucks. There are now trucks out there which has compartment. When the people come, when the garbage collector comes to your house, they can put wet waste in the wet compartment and the dry waste in the dry compartment. So those kind of trucks needs to be bought for ULBs. So I was hoping that as part of this Swachh Bharat mission, with all the funding coming to those ULBs, those kind of things will start getting those infrastructure. Because unless we have a proper infrastructure is also very, very important. We have to develop those infrastructure. And those infrastructure has to be developed from the government side, because waste management business, those big investment stuff has a very long-term return. You don't start making money in a few years. And private companies cannot really sustain a very long-term investment. It is only the government which can do that. You can have some public partnership and all those, but the government has to be involved, because municipal waste essentially is actually the municipality owns the garbage. So we are paying taxes to the municipality. So municipality owns the garbage for that.
Yes.
There should be a waste disposal fee, which is there as part of the rule. Some places it is being implemented, other places it is not being implemented. So we have to generate revenue, but we need to develop infrastructure as well.
One gap, which I think people like you must be noticing and discussing amongst yourself, do you think there are gaps in our education system as well, which perhaps can be tweaked to further promote innovation and entrepreneurship in the waste sector?
I think so, yeah. There have been, as you mentioned, that because of Swachh Bharat mission, as well as because of certain hackathons and those kind of stuff, Smartathon and hackathon that is going around in the country. So a lot of positive things are happening in terms of trying to get people interested about waste management or in general environmental issues in the country. There is a gap. We do have a environmental science, as you may also have taken it as because of the Supreme Court directive. Now every school, CBSE board or ICSE board, every board has to teach an environmental science course to the student. That those things have raised some awareness. And then at the college level too, like for example, at IIT Kharagpur or every IITs and NITs and all these engineering colleges, same thing, they have to have an environmental studies course, which is offered. So that is also there. People have to take an environmental studies course. So, but when we go in the field, we do see lack of good quality waste engineers out there. That's the reason why, when I was abroad for almost 15 years, and then I came back after Swachh Bharat mission was launched. So one of the motivation for me to come back to India after being 15 years away mostly in North America was to try to work in the waste sector and try to raise. That's the reason we are talking today.
Yes.
So basically this will help raise some awareness. And we started some online programs, online courses and all that, which so those kind of things are happening. But again, we need much more. We need much more programs, much more training programs. People who are working in the waste sector, when I visited several ULBs, those engineers who are working in the waste sector, they never had a formal solid waste management course. Because if you look at the undergraduate degree, most of the environmental engineering is part of civil engineering.
Yeah.
Civil engineering, the core civil engineering program does not even have a solid waste course.
Yes.
Even in IITs. Solid waste course is an elective. Water and wastewater is the core. So water and wastewater, every graduating civil engineer in the country will definitely have taken a water and wastewater course.
Yes.
So what we have, that's why you see a better water engineer, better wastewater engineer out there.
Yeah.
Solid waste is kind of, it's a newer thing for last two decades and other stuff. Earlier, people's thought process was that what is there to learn in solid waste? In fact, if I tell you my personal story, Like when I was going for PhD in waste management, but my father's uncle,
Yes.
his question was, why you need to learn waste history? What is there to learn in waste management?
Yes.
So that kind of thought process is there. They think that what is there in, so it is there in our system that there is nothing much to learn. There is not much thing to do research in waste, which needs to change. It is changing. Swachh Bharat Mission has brought some awareness. It's now people talk about waste management in the drawing room. And at the same time, there are certain government programs. DST has come up with a waste management, DST waste management call. I would like that call to be more frequent, although it is supposed to be once a year, but nowadays it is actually even getting delayed. It is becoming like once in 2 years now. So that will bring innovation picture in there. So country needs a lot of waste training centers. Actually, we need people, we need to have lots of training so that people working in the waste management should understand what actually they have to do, because they are doing it in a monotonous way. They are doing it whatever is being done but they don't have a proper training to understand the waste management. So the skilled manpower is lacking, especially in the waste sector. Other thing is that the job also in the waste sector is a bit, because the companies, they don't have, if you have a hardcore waste engineer, finding a job, although there is a lot of requirement, but finding a job also becomes a bit, because we don't have that many companies out there.
Correct.
So that is also it's a cause of concern.
Thank you. I think we've covered a gamut of issues today. So thank you very much for doing this interview with us.